Hey there, everyone. I apologize. I have a little bit of allergies coming up, so I sound a little froggy today, but we're so excited for our first show. Thank you for being here. My name is Francesca Scalisi. I am a 13-year veteran in the event industry, and this is my co-host, Kim Lovett, a 37-year veteran in the event industry and founder of arguably one of the best event companies in New Jersey. Together, we are your dynamic duo from Marquis Florals event design, where we plan and decorate parties in a really big way.
So I'm glad to be here with Francesca, and we're an amazing team working together in our office. I've been doing this, like Francesca said, 37 years. And so me being in this industry a really long time, you're constantly having to keep up with trends and all of this. So bringing Francesca has really, like we said last week, has brought it up to the next level with our Instagram and all of this stuff. And we continue to be doing amazing events for our clients, many in a year. And we hope that this show is really going to be very informative, and we're going to make and answer questions that are going to make your party better.
We'll do Q&As. We'll help you plan. We'll help you pick out design and explain things so you understand what you're buying.
Absolutely. And make that your event go to the next level, because that's what it's about. An event is always beautiful and great, and people are happy to come. But when you take the details and go to the next level, it doesn't have to always cost money to go to the next level, but just knowing the little nuances of how to make your party run smoother and the right things to pick when you're picking flowers and all of this stuff, and as well as other things that go along with the event. So we're here to guide you through all of that. So
and that actually leads us into today's topic. So the theme for today's show is silk flowers versus fresh flowers. Now, every episode, we're going to end with a story that will take you behind the scenes on some of the most memorable setups and events we've shared over the course of the last 3 decades. We do about 300 to 400 events a year, so we have a lot of stories. But first, I just want to get into some viewer spotlight. And this is actually really funny. I'm going to go off topic a little bit to make a joke here. Remember when COVID first started and you sneezed or you had like I just feel, and everyone around you would be like, oh my God, I feel like I just need to be, I'm not infected. But yeah, allergy season is just crazy right now. But last week we did an intro for this show here, which we're really excited. We're going to announce the official name of the show next week. And we had a lot of really great feedback. We had a lot of really incredible comments. So I really just want to get into some of those comments that we had. So Andrea says, hi, Kim, this is Andrea. I won't say last names. You did my son Scott's bar mitzvah in March 1987. Sorry, Kim.
Frightening.
One of your first. You were amazing even back then. Good luck with your new venture. And we actually had Wendy comment, because Wendy and Marty, who owned the Grand Marquis back then and who now we still work with today, also worked with her back in 1987. Right. So it's just a very small world how everything comes full circle. So thank you, Andrea. Michelle says, love Kim and her staff. We used them both of my daughter's weddings. Absolutely amazing job. You will not be disappointed with their work. I am a perfectionist and very creative. This team will go above and beyond if your budget allows it, and will really help you guide to fit your needs if on a tight budget. Simply amazing. So thank you, Michelle.
Nice. Thanks, Michelle.
Very, very nice. Kathy, hello, Kathy. Hopefully you're on here. Kathy says, I thoroughly enjoy watching my beautiful friends. So excited for your entire team to have more exposure. The most talented, honest, and hardworking event stylist in the business.
Well, you know what Kathy that is. I think we can say what Kathy that is. That's Kathy Fratangelo from Diamond Castle and Castle Couture. And we work with Kathy. We worked with Kathy for many years.
Many years.
And if you need beautiful jewelry for your wedding, real or costume,
right.
She does beautiful headpieces. And of course, Castle Couture is, our favorite bridal store.
Great.
So, but go see Kathy.
For sure.
Get the finishing touch on you.
Oh,
she's
yeah,
amazing.
she's amazing. And then our last one for today is from Jane. And Jane said, congrats to you and Marquis Florals. Working with you and Marty and Wendy was the best. And I know you'll soar even higher with your great team and new venture. So much talent. Miss all of you. So thank you, Jane. We really appreciate that. Now we're going to get into today's theme. And what that is, as I mentioned before, is silk flowers versus fresh flowers. So would you like to start it off?
Okay. So silk flowers were the thing back in the day. Francesca, I hate to admit this, but I'm going to say it. I had silk flowers for my wedding bouquet.
And you weren't happy about it?
I was not happy about it. I will say, I was not happy.
Was that your doing or Mama Lucy?
It was my mother, Mama Lucy's doing. I had terrible allergies at the time, and I think I still do have terrible allergies. But my mother was so afraid that I would touch the flowers and then touch my eye, and then my eye would blow up, and I'd look terrible for pictures. So she was in a complete panic. So she made me, I'll never forget, Phil Anderson flowers in Islin, and I got silk flowers. I had fresh flowers at the reception, but everything in the personal flowers was silk.
What we should do? You should bring in a picture of that, and I should share it with everybody.
Okay.
On social media.
Okay. I still have my wedding bouquet. I'm very Italian. It's in the box, the silk flowers under the glass, and you can see them. It's very funny. Yep. It's very, very funny.
I love that.
Silk flowers really were not the thing for many, many years. I mean, I'm married 44 years. So back in the day, the silks were hot. They had just come out, and it was something that people were doing. And then it just kind of died down. Silks were not the thing. Then COVID happened, and we couldn't get flowers. So people had weddings, and the biggest thing was the hydrangea. We could not get enough hydrangea out of South America. While it was COVID, nobody was working the production. So the production went down. And then when we got busy again, it takes them a full year to get back online. So everybody was scouring the market for silk hydrangeas to put in the centerpieces. And then I think that it kind of,
and what year was this?
2022.
This was around the time of COVID.
It was right after COVID, right? And the wedding started getting back.
Right,
we couldn't get the flowers.
Right.
So it was happening. And then I think we realized, this is kind of working. This is good. It's not as expensive. It's renewable. And I feel that this bride is somebody that wants renewable things and that wants is worried about the environment and worried about, wasting and throwing away, right? So, because, unfortunately, the flowers just get right in the trash after the wedding, right?
Actually, even if you hire a company to bring it somewhere, it costs a lot of money.
It's like $2,000 to $3,000
to
to renew the flowers, to bring them to nursing home or
great
whatever.
Thing to do,
it's
but
fabulous.
It's just hard on the pocket.
So it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So anyway, we started. Some of the florists started using silks. Indian weddings have been using silks for a very long time because the installations back, in India, the flowers are very, very inexpensive. But here, wanting to do the same kind of floral installations and walls and all this stuff, it's so cost prohibitive. So the Indian decorators really started using the silk flowers, and it looks great. Then Fran had come to me one day because we got a few inquiries on the phone about silk flowers. And I said, Fran, I don't know if I really want to get into like full silks. And Fran was like,
she knew she didn't want to get into it.
I didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it. And so then Fran said, I think we should try. Well, that week we got more inquiries. It was just the silk gods were telling us, right?
Yeah.
So we said, okay. So bride came in, we took the order. We didn't have anything made in silk, but we figured we could do fresh. We're going to do silk, right? So we started getting into it, and one thing led to another, and we are really doing a ton of silk flowers. We've designed arches, huppas. The huppas are the most amazing thing because
a 30-minute ceremony.
Bingo. And to do some of these huppas that you're seeing on Instagram and all of this stuff, that's the thing. And guess what? These massive huppas that you're seeing on Instagram, they're silk.
All silk.
Because to make a huppah like some of these pictures that you're seeing, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. listen, there are people that have those budgets, but the average bride doesn't.
Right.
So when we can do a $10,000 huppah for $4,000 or $5,000, bam. I mean, it totally works. And then we take some of those pieces from that huppah and use it on the sweetheart table and
to
all of that.
repurpose the flowers, which
And
is
then-
huge right now.
And then talk about how we're enhancing the silks.
So we actually do kind of like a hybrid type theme. To add color, to add texture, and just to make things a bit different, we mix fresh flowers with silk flowers.
Yeah.
We can do all silk. In fact, we do. But there's some clients that want things to be a bit different. So we start with a base of our silk white and green flowers, in some cases mostly white, and we add fresh flowers to it, and it really just transforms the centerpiece into something beautiful that matches their wedding and really is stays cohesive throughout the whole event.
And then it gives them that feel of fresh, because we're adding baby's breath, which is back in again.
Oh,
for a long time it was not in.
Yes.
We couldn't give it away. Now we can't get enough. And we add beautiful fresh greenery to these centerpieces. So when your guests look at it, they're just like, is that real? Is that fake? We do fresh centerpieces here that they're on the table and clients walk in and they go, oh, is that fake? I'm like, no, it's real.
Yeah.
So the impression of it, and especially when you're taking pictures and posting on the Instagram and Facebook and whatever you're doing, nobody could tell the difference.
Absolutely
I
not.
could tell. I could always tell.
Of course.
Because that's my, that's what I do. But people cannot tell. And so it's so impressive. And you can really get twice as much for your money.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to note, these are not flowers that you see in like Dollar Tree. For example, Kim, our team only gets the highest quality silks. We go into the city to get them. They're anatomically correct. They look so real that, like Kim was saying before, you can't even tell.
Client has to touch them.
Yeah.
They really have to touch them to figure it out.
For that person that has allergies, or maybe an outdoor wedding, because fresh flowers just do not stay as well.
If it's
in the
July
heat.
and August, it's rough sometimes.
So it's just, for many reasons, it's really helped transform, I think, the decor industry.
It has. And we get to do installations that normally people couldn't afford to do. So we opened a silk flower store now. We have all 4 stores in our plaza. And so the last store was a window store that was here for years. And Warren retired. So we got in here and we have huppah setups and arches and table centerpieces. So it's really great if you can come in and see what we have and see it live in person.
In every category.
In every category, right. The only thing we're really not doing rentals, because we rent all of this stuff, right? Head table pieces, the whole bit. The only thing we're not renting are bouquets and things, because I feel like it's such a personal item. And somebody's got their hands on that all day. And then it's coming back to the store.
The photos are also very close up and high definition.
Yeah, and I just think it's
more special.
It's more special to have fresh flowers in your hand the day of your wedding. So if we can't get a flower, like sometimes people want anemones, the white with the black center, and they're only available a certain time of the year. We'll do a fresh bouquet, but we'll add that in silk, and it looks gorgeous.
Sometimes it looks better.
I think it looks better.
Naturally, with flowers, they don't look exactly the same every time they grow. The black center might come in looking a little grayish purple, or so it looks more what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent.
Right.
When you use the silk.
Right.
Silk flowers.
Mix it in.
Yeah.
So, but a bouquet is, I think, a personal thing. And we do, the girl came yesterday, we're doing all silk flowers for her bouquets and things, because she wants to keep them, which I think is, great. So, but we do the fresh flowers for the bouquets and whatnot. And so you have that essence of fresh flowers, the special moment that with the wedding to have some fresh, and then we're banging out these silk ones, and of course we're still doing our fresh centerpieces, because silk is not for everybody,
right.
That's for sure. So I would say maybe a third of our business now is coming in for silk.
Yeah, it's definitely grown.
Oh, it's growing
for sure. It's just growing more and more. I think because aside from the sustainability, we touched on this earlier. Everything that you see, a lot of people want what they see on Pinterest, what they see online.
It's crazy.
And the photos that are getting the most exposure are have filters on them, have silk flowers. You're not seeing fresh, natural things online. It's not really happening. It's
even when you go to Pinterest now, right? And you put in the colors and you look for bouquets, because you guys should maybe make a Pinterest board. So when you come in, we have a good idea. I love to see what the client, I think this is really important.
Yeah.
I think that I always like to see what the client loves, and I also want to see what she hates.
I agree.
Because we then get a very good sense of what is off limits for you. Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes it's more telling of what you don't like than when you do like. So that's always good to put the things that you don't like on a Pinterest board and then the loves on the other Pinterest board. But when you bring that stuff in, most of the girls that are bringing me their boards, they got silk flowers on all the bouquets.
And they don't even realize.
It's silk flowers in the bouquets. And I'm like, listen, I can make this, but this is silk. And then they're like, really, Kim? I'm like, yeah, roses don't come in blue.
Right. And before we go on to our story time, there's a lot of these places online that have silk. They rent out silk, bouquets and boutonnieres, but they're buying them in they're buying a mass product in bulk. And it's not the same quality.
Everything's handmade here.
Yes.
So our designers that are making our fresh flowers are making our silk flowers.
Right.
Pedro's our guy. We're going to give a shout out to Pedro, because he's like
Love you, Pedro.
the king of silk. Pedro is the king of silk. And Pedro, in fact, had a store in Manhattan on 28th Street in the flower market for many, many years. And but he knows and can handle silk flowers like nobody's business. So Pedro is the man.
We love Pedro.
We do. And but everything is handmade here. So it's not like we're ordering it online from China. And then it comes already made in a box, and you can't stick anything in that styrofoam because it's like hard like a rock, and you can't make modifications to it. So that's what's great about us here, that we can make the modifications, and we're local. And that's important. A lot of these silk flower people, the businesses, there's one in Texas, there's a few of them, and you could order the flowers online, but then they have to ship them to you. So you're paying all these shipping costs, and what happens if it comes and it's not right?
Right. It's not like you can come in and call someone up and we can whip things up,
here in 1 second.
But it doesn't work that way.
You may order a giraffe, but you want a zebra. We'll get it to the zebra in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. So you'll hear about some of those stories.
So, so I think that, listen, fresh flowers will always be my first love. Because I'm a florist, obviously. And I think that there's something just very special about fresh flowers. But of course, it brings smell and, all of that to a aroma, not smell, aroma to the room. But I think that for practical reasons, for like huppas and arches and things like that, that you're using for such a limited amount of time, I think the silk is fantastic.
Agreed.
Yeah, it really is good.
So now we have our story time. This is a little bit more somber today because of the day that it is. 23 years ago, unfortunately, we dealt with the events of September 11th. And because of that, we decided, we really want to really tell you a story about what that was like 23 years ago. And I have chills. Working in a very, very busy venue, what did you do? How did you react? Because we're on the East Coast, we're in the mecca of where that happened. And so
it was around the corner.
It was around the corner. So I'd love for you to share what that was like.
So that morning, I woke up, and my husband flies a plane, not commercially, but for fun. And he has at that time he had a plane in Linden Airport. But so I was listening to the radio, and I heard, a plane went into the World Trade Center, and I was like, who could possibly think it would be a 747? So I'm like, oh my God, one of these guys from the pilots group hit the World Trade Center. I can't believe it. So I called my husband, and my husband's a longshoreman, and he was on the big cranes that you see across from Newark Airport, and you can see right into the World Trade Center harbor. And I called him and I said, did you? And he says, I'm looking at it. He says, let me hang up. I'm going to call the service to see if it's one of our planes. And he did. He called me back. It was not. And then things all started like coming to reality, right? And no television, because the television stations, some of them were down because there was a lot of issues. They had all the Gumezi jumps, the antennas on the top of the on the top of the World Trade Center. But and we were scared. Yeah. And we all went to work that day to the Grand Marquis, and we started, all of us were listening to the radio all day, and the stories were coming in, and by the end of the day, we were all crazy and distraught. I mean, the whole world was, right? But then it started happening, right? We started getting phone calls. We had grooms or brides that we lost, and weddings had to be canceled. Parties, bar mitzvahs had to be canceled. It was a really hard time. We love our clients. And so losing a client is like losing family. So it was really, really tough. And people are still going through all of that. I mean, people that it affected will never forget it, and it'll be part of their lives forever. But you know what? We did what we had to do at Grand Marquis, and we serviced those clients, and we were family to them, and they returned all of their money, and we helped them with whatever else they needed. And the same thing happened with Sandy, right? Yeah. Sandy wasn't death like that, of course. Yeah. But the same thing with Sandy, we had that here. Yeah. And we were working out of our cars because we had no electric, and we're plugging our phones into the cars and whatever. And and we had to cancel parties for like 2-3 weeks. There was no venues that had electric, and it was absolutely nuts. And that's the thing. When there's disaster, your business just can't be a business, right? It's a business, but you have family, and the clients are your family, because this is not a corporation here. This makes us different from everybody else, right? Yeah. You're not buying flowers from a random company that you don't know. This is family. So whoever comes in here, I take in as my own. Yeah. So all those people that had their weddings canceled, we had all the flowers in the building. They all came. And what are we going to do? We had to eat them. What are we going to do? The brides are crying. Everybody's hysterical. Yeah. So we just, we worked it out. And we redid the flowers for clients. It didn't cost them any more money, because we would never want to do that. I mean, it's better that in some instances we didn't make money. That was okay. Yeah. But we all had to pitch in to do what was right for the client. And but we got through it, right? We definitely got through it. And then again with COVID. Yeah, same thing. We had a poor sweet 16 that she was in there in our place at 1:00 paying her bill on a Friday, and the party was going to be at 6:00. And at 3:00 she called and she said, "Don't deliver the stuff. I can't do it, Kim. I just can't do it. I'm so afraid for the kids, Yeah. So we just do what we have to do." Even and the clients that have postponed 3-4 times during COVID, absolutely. Yep. Did postpone 3 and 4 times during COVID. Yeah. So, but we did what we had to do. Yeah, and of course. When disaster strikes, we all become one, and we make the best out of it. But I do want to give my thoughts and my prayers to all the families and friends that lost people during 9/11. I think that when they say we should never forget, we shouldn't ever forget. And because it was really a disastrous time. A disastrous time. So, so our thoughts and prayers to all of those people. Yeah, all those people. Absolutely. So what's happening next week, Fran? So next week, we are going to be talking about something a little bit different, a little bit happier, a little more exciting. We're going to talk about where to start with wedding planning. So we'll go into details on that. If you are planning a wedding, or you know someone that is, please share this video with them. Follow our team on Pinterest, on Facebook, on Instagram at Marquis Florals by Kim. You could also see our handles down below here. And next week, which is really exciting, we're going to be announcing our official show name. Okay. Because we do have a name. We came up with it. I think we like it.
I think this is a winner. So we're going to tell you all about it on next week's show, along with talking about where to start, because that's probably one of the biggest questions is, you know, a bride has, like, where do I even start?
How do I find a venue? How do I find the florist and I'm always the last one, but how to find the photographer and the DJ and sort of going through the steps. And I think this week, if you get a chance, send us questions about those things.
Absolutely.
And anything that you want to ask us. It doesn't have to be about that. It can be about flowers, and then we can make another show on the questions that you're asking.
Absolutely.
But you know, this is a lot in this brain, and if I don't share it, it's not fair. It's not fair to share what your experience and your love for the business and 37 years. And I love it as much today as I did when I first got my job. And I thought I was out of my mind. I thought I got the job of a lifetime, and it really turned out to be a job of a lifetime. So, yeah, I'm very blessed.
Yeah.
There's aggravation. Believe me, there's lots of aggravation, but it is the job of a lifetime.
At the end of the day, it's worth it to work with.
So rewarding.
Incredible.
So rewarding.
Like yep. So thank you so much for tuning in this week. We will see you again next week at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we couldn't be more excited.
We'll see you then, guys.
Have a great rest of your day.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.